Going on, Faded Culture? It's Sergio Barron, and we're back again with another tutorial. Today I'm gonna run y'all down my step-by-step process on doing a skin taper fade with the Tangard on top. Also, before I start, if y'all haven't already, be sure to before I start. Also, if y'all haven't already checked out our merch, be sure to check it out. I keep wanting to say down. I usually get it on the first try. Also, if y'all haven't already checked out our merch, be sure y'all check it out at fadedculture.co. The shirts are 100% made by some of the finest cotton in the world. They're 100% fireproof, right?
Yeah.
Bulletproof and like hater-proof. Angel made. So yeah, so with that being said, let's just jump right into this tutorial. I hope they don't really think it's bulletproof. Yeah.
Alright guys, so to begin, we're going to run a number 10 guard all over the top of his head. So make sure that lever is closed on the clipper when doing so. And also, every time you run the clipper over the top of his hair, make sure that you comb the hair back down into its natural position, and as well as combing away any loose hair that you're cutting off. And next we're going to go ahead and set in our first guideline, starting right there at the temple peak area of his forehead, and then we're going to make sure it slants down to about the top of his ear. Next, we're going to make sure that we follow that same guideline down to the back side of his taper, upper neck area, and we're going to make sure that we run that line across the back of his head, and then we'll proceed by meeting at the opposite side of his head as well. Next, we're going to proceed by opening the lever on the clipper all the way, and then we're going to set in our next guideline. When you're doing so, make sure that you're only coming up about a ½ inch high from the previous guideline that we set. And just like before, we're going to make sure that that guideline flows consistent towards the back of his taper, as well as with the left side of his taper as well. Also guys, just keep in mind that all these steps I'm going to leave down in the description for y'all, as well as all the links to the tools that I use in this video. For this tutorial, we're going to use the create a guideline and blend it out as we go technique. So here, as you see that we created that guideline here, we're going to blend it right out. For this, first we're going to come in with the clipper lever closed, and then we'll open it halfway, since it's going to take 2 lever positions to blend it completely out. So first we're going to come in with the lever closed, and we're going to blend out just a tad bit, making sure that we stay under that upper guideline above so that we don't take the fade up too high. So we're just going to blend right there where the initial start of the bottom guideline is, and just soften it up and blend it up as much as possible. And whatever is left, we're going to just open that lever halfway, and again just continue blending till it's as smooth as possible, and again just stay right under that dark guideline above. Then we're just going to make sure that we repeat that exact same process on the back side of his taper as well. Again guys, just starting with that lever closed for the first part of that guideline, and then once you're done and got most of it out, we're going to open that lever halfway and continue blending it out as much as possible. And again guys, that upper dark guideline is just serving us as a safety net so that we don't continue taking the blend up too high. And now just to finish this step, we're going to repeat the exact same process on the right side of his taper. And once that is smoothed out, we'll proceed with the number 1 guard, and we're going to open the lever all the way to set in our next guideline. For the next guideline, again, we're only going to come up about a ½ inch high. As you're setting in these guidelines, guys, make sure that you're always continuously brushing away the hair down into its natural position, as well as brushing away all the loose hairs that you're cutting along the way. That way you just maintain that clean workspace and you can visually better see these guidelines that you're setting in. And now, just like before guys, now that we created this guideline, we're gonna go ahead and take it right out. This guideline, as well as the previous one, is gonna take 2 steps. First, starting with that half guard with the lever position open to about 3/4, and we're gonna go ahead and start blending out as much as possible of that guideline. And whatever it don't take out, we'll come back in with the second step to completely take it out. And again guys, just make sure that you're staying right under that dark line above, so that we don't take the fade up too high. And like I said before, don't worry that this guard didn't completely take out that guideline. We're just going to continue blending throughout the back side and the opposite side, as much of it that we can take out, and we'll come right back with without the guard and we'll completely take it out. So like I said, now to finish completely blending out that line, we're gonna take off the guard and just leave the clipper with no guard, and keeping that lever still in that 3/4 position so that we can completely blend out that guideline. Then just continue that process on the back side of his taper as well as on the opposite side of his taper. You'll notice that when I'm blending out these guidelines, I like to use more so the corners of the clippers, since this does kind of help me get in there more with or in a detailed manner. And now that that's completely blended out, next we're gonna come in with the 2 guard lever all the way open, and we're gonna set in our next guideline. Since here we're kind of already reaching the higher part of his taper, we're gonna kind of more so not dig the clipper in, but start kind of flicking it outwards, so that we're kind of, think of it as you're trying to blend the side of the taper already to the top length of his hair. So in a sense, just utilize C-scoop motions as if you're just blending straight up to the top length, and make sure you're only coming up about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch high. And now that guideline that we created, we're gonna go ahead and blend it out. For this one, we're gonna use the 1.5 guard, that lever positioned on that 3/4 spot, and we're gonna start blending away that guideline. And again, it's not gonna completely take it out. It's gonna take 2 steps as well. So just take out as much as possible, again, staying under the dark line that we created with the 2.5. And then once you're done with this step, we're gonna come back in with the 1 guard to finish completely taking out the guideline that the 2.5 created. So you see that line that we're still left with, we're gonna come back with the 1 guard, keep that lever still on the 3/4 position, and then just continue blending it out. Again guys, just use that upper dark line as that safety net so that we don't continue taking the blend up too high. So just stay right under it, and with the corners of the clipper getting in there in a detailed manner, blend it out as smooth as possible that you can. And now that we're done with this line being blended out, we're gonna comb the hair down, and then we're gonna come in with the 3 guard lever open, and here we're just gonna try to connect the side length or the rest of the side length to the top length of the hair. So as you comb the hair down, just kind of sculpt the hair as much as possible so that we have a smooth transition from the side taper to the top length. For this haircut in particular, this 3.5 seemed to completely have done the job, but sometimes other haircuts you might need to come in with the clipper over comb or a scissor over comb to completely blend the sides up to the top length. And now once I was done, I kind of noticed a little bit of dark areas in the fade. So I came back in and did a little bit of touch-up work with the 1.5 guard, keeping that lever on that 3rd quarter position. And then I just kind of looked for those dark areas, and with the corners of the clipper, just went in there and blended them right out. The touch-up work will always vary from client to client depending on the kind of hair that they have. But just keep in mind that all you're doing is looking for any inconsistencies in the fade or little dark spots that kind of disturb the fade, and you're just going to blend them right out with whatever guard that you feel it might need. Then we're going to proceed by taking out the bottom of the hair. For this, I'm going to come in first with my trimmers upside down so that we get a balder guideline on the taper. And then we're just going to flip the clipper right back over into its upright position and then just blend out that little faint line that it creates. I do it this way so that when we do come back in with the trimmer and take out the rest of the bottom of the hair, it's going to kind of leave a little difference in the baldness. So in a sense, another guideline, and that's just going to show us how high to come up with our electric shavers so that we don't come in with the shavers and go up too high into the fade, creating any harsh lines. Also guys, if y'all are finding these tutorials very helpful and beneficial for y'all, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, maybe comment y'all's opinions down in the comment section, and also maybe share it to someone that y'all think might find it helpful. And next guys, we're just going to come in with the electric shavers so that we can get right down to the skin. And again guys, as you reach that faint line that we have left behind, make sure that you kind of release a little bit of pressure on the electric shaver so that we don't create these harsh lines into the fade. So in a sense, you're using these electric shavers just as they are a pair of clippers, and as you're reaching the top of that little faint line, or as you're getting closer to the fade, make sure that you're kind of just scooping outwards. And now to start the lineup process, I like to use this pump it up spritz, as it helps lock the hair in place and it's not moving around when you're coming in with your trimmers and setting in your hard lines. So I'll spray a little bit of pumps on the hairlines, and then I'll just blow dry it down into the position that I want it to freeze. And then I'm gonna just kind of determine where I want to set in my lines. So first I'll set in my horizontal line in the middle of his forehead, and then I'll set in my vertical lines on the sides, and then I'll just proceed by meeting them across the whole forehead. Be sure that you're continuously stepping back and really looking or getting a broad view of the hairline so that you're ensuring that you're staying straight or as straight as possible throughout the whole process. And next, before I start shaving all the hairline, I'll apply a little bit of shaving gel so that we create that lubrication barrier on the skin. And then before I start actually shaving with my straight razor, I like to tug on the skin so that we create that tension, and it helps the blade slide a little more through the skin without creating any or causing any irritation. So first I'll go in and kind of shave off all the peach fuzz. Then I'll kind of line up against the vertical lines, and then I'll shave against the grain so that we get that much closer to the skin, and it helps the shave last that much longer. If you're fairly new with the straight razor, I do recommend that you kind of use the straight razor without an actual blade on there, so that you can kind of practice on getting familiar with the maneuvers of the blade and throughout the head. And then once you get that, build that confidence, you can actually throw a razor on there and start actually practicing an actual shave. I also came in and lined up his eyebrows just so we can sharpen them up a bit. I kind of like to keep their natural arch that they have. I just kind of clean up all the peach fuzz that lies around them so that we end up with a cleaner eyebrow look. Next, I'm gonna just apply a little bit of enhancements. For my enhancements, I'll use this portable airbrush gun, and I'll mix half water, half Kiss Express into the little gun. And as well, I'll leave this down linked in the description. But that's pretty much it guys for this tutorial on the skin taper fade with the 10 guard on top. So next I'll just blow dry everything off, and then I'll apply a little bit of a shine pomade throughout the top just to kind of help the haircut pop. Here's the before haircut, and here's the after. I hope y'all guys really enjoyed this tutorial and were able to learn something from it. If y'all did, please give it a thumbs up, and let me know about y'all's thoughts down in the comment section. Also, let me know what other haircuts y'all like us to go over. Again guys, my name is Sergio Barron, this is Faded Culture, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.